I'm Joy O'Neill, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Red Barn. Our typical days are not typical. The one thing that all the days have in common is that we get to see some amazing students and share our love of horses with them. The mission is to promote and support equine-assisted therapies and activities to children and adults with disabilities and special circumstances. When you see somebody whose legs weren't strong enough to walk very well, and then after 6 months of riding, they're able to stand up and walk further than they've ever been able to ride, and you see first words, and you see them make friends.
Ow, purple and red.
I think that some of the kind of misperceptions that people have about being a history major is that you're going to end up teaching in a high school or maybe in a college, that you might have to go into law school. But for me at least, I can say that being a history major, obviously I ended up in a barn, not in any of those fields. What it does is open the door for you for pretty much any career, because you're learning how to do research and to understand things. You're learning how to look at the context of where things are. Like when we started the barn, I had no idea how to do that, but I knew how to do the right research, and I knew how to find out information. I knew how to write, to go back and look at things, to be able to write business letters, to be able to understand psychology and why people do and don't do things, to look at examples of leadership throughout history, to understand how people resolved conflict. My mom didn't go to college, so she did know how to lead me, and the support that I got from the history department was amazing. And then I think the biggest thing that it did is it opened my eyes to just a whole broader world, to be able to think about why people do the things that they do and the consequences for our actions. And can you always see the long-term impact that you're making? And that's something that I think, especially in my line of work today, when we're working with kids that have disabilities and special circumstances, we see them for this one hour a week or maybe 2 hours a week. But to be able to think about what the cumulative effect of all of those hours are, and the ripple impact that that's going to have, not only on that one child, but of the 100 children that we see each week, and thinking about that we're really changing the history of their lives, and that their lives may change the history of the world. We have sent 5 children to college, and fortunately they have all 5 graduated. And I think my best advice to them would be to really focus on how you're learning, more so necessarily than the specifics of what you're learning. I think one thing that's really changing in just the job market in itself is that the knowledge might be changing at such a pace that it's difficult to keep up. But if you learn how to learn, you'll always be able to find a job and to not be left behind. And I think that's one of the greatest things that a history degree can teach you, is to learn how to learn.